So hi there, welcome to my new series. It's all going to be about line and wash technique. Today we're going to be talking about what line and wash is and the different types of line and wash that you can do. But before we start really, I'd like to talk about a little motto that I have for this series, which is going to be no perfection, just play. Now what I mean by that is I am a real strong believer in the value of play when learning. I watch my kids learn to walk and speak and learn how to destroy my house slowly in pieces. And they do all that through play. Now I think play is really underestimated in the modern world for grown-ups. We tend to disguise it as like football or golf or bingo or whatever it is that we do, online gaming or whatever. But it's all play, and I think there's a great value in play that's underestimated anyway. I'm not going to go about that too much. I'll be talking about it a little bit in quite a few of these episodes. We're going to have five episodes in the series, so make sure there'll be a playlist. Or the next video will appear somewhere up there at some time. So line and wash as a technique is really quite varied. You can have many different types of line and wash, but primarily it breaks down into two components: surprise, surprise, line and wash. And what does that mean? Well, line can be anything. We can use pencil, we can use ink. Particularly in the urban sketching side is fountain pens and fine liners. I think that's where most people begin. Now, how you apply that line work, it can be you start with pencil and then you go in with pen. It can be you go straight in with pen. The problem with just using pencil is it tends to give quite a delicate line, which means that ultimately when you go in with the paint, it can overrule it. So it's less line and wash and more just wash, which is essentially just watercolor. Now when it comes to the wash, you don't have to use watercolors. You can use ink, you can use a single block of color. I believe that line and wash encapsulates even markers and things like that, or even a slightly mixed media approach. But the reason why I like the term line and wash, and the reason why I think it's an important starting point, is because it's very learnable, it's very teachable. What can you use line and wash for? Well, line and wash can be used for drawing anything. Anything you can draw, you can do with a line and wash technique. Popular subjects will be people, sort of vehicles, cityscapes in the urban sketching sort of thing, rural landscapes, animals, anything. It's a process that you can repeat quite quickly, and in fact when you're learning, often one of the things I suggest is that you do lots of little trial sketches and just quickly colour them up rather than committing to spending a whole 2 hours on a drawing. Just do some really quick 10-minute sketches. So really I'm going to talk a little bit now about some examples of the sort of line and wash that I think are my favourite really. I quite like minimal and selective colouring where the line work is quite interesting, and when I say gestural, what I mean is it's being put on quite quickly and it's not too precise. It has a level of sort of abstraction about it, which is quite fun. And then there's a minimal colour. Now that can be a single light tinting, or it can be something like just a single block of colour in the sky. Those techniques are really fun, and they're great for a beginner because it takes all the pressure off of doing layers and layers and layers of watercolours. Okay, so let's look at some of those minimal coloured versions. So in this version, as you can see, it's a moorland scene, and I've used a few just really super simple light tones to tell the story of the water and the surroundings. I'm not going into lots of detail, there's not lots of layering in, it's just a really simple drawing. But I think that there's the line work's doing its job, and the wash work is doing its job too. So that's about as simple as you can get really, and I think it's very effective. And then in this drawing here, as you can see, this is a street scene in Sheffield. I've blocked in some colour in the sky and just put a highlight in one of the buildings. And again, that's a really super simple way of trying to approach line and wash. So in this example, this has been sketched in with fountain pen ink, and then I've just put some water over the top of it with a brush and push the ink around, and obviously it's water soluble, the ink, so it will dissolve into that water. So literally as simple as a process as you can get. You need a sketchbook, a pen, a brush and some water. That's it. That's a great way to start learning the line and wash process. And then again here you can see something a lot more complicated. It's had a lot more line work put on it. This is Knaresborough, where we have a lot more detailed at the line work and consider dots here, there, here and there. And I think that looks great. I love it. It's nice, but for me, I like it when it has a bit of spontaneity about the image. And I feel sometimes if I work to that level, sometimes I feel the work ends up looking a little bit too cartoony in a way. So as I say, this is really a little taster, an introduction into line and wash technique, and I hope that by seeing some of the examples there and by listening to me chunt around for a bit, you're excited about going through the next parts of this. The next stage we're going to look at is going to be what equipment we need to start line and wash drawing, and we're also going to be doing some demos throughout the whole of the series, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to put a link up here for somewhere for the next episode, so you can skip over there. And but if you want to hang around and listen to me say thanks for staying with this one. I know this one there isn't a lot of action in it, it's just me chatting. So yeah, please like, subscribe. You can buy me a coffee. You can head over to my website and have a look at some of my original artwork that's for sale there. But yeah, thanks for staying to the end. Cheers then, bye.